Let's look at the New York City Council 2024 response to the ballot proposals that our New York City Mayor, Eric Adams, introduced. For people outside of New York City, I hope you're paying attention to this. I'm sure this is inside politics, but we're going to try to take a view of this, of what's actually happening. If you go to our New York City Council website, you're forced to see this thing, add your name. So close that. Then if you search in Google for this New York City general election ballot proposal, the first thing we'd like to show is that there's actually council people that are filing complaints about the city council itself. And we'll just zoom in on some statement from our person, Bob Holden. And he says here, it's overly political language. I guess you can't zoom in on this. Overly political language about the ballot proposals. He said, concerning because they do not offer an unbiased educational perspective on all ballot proposals, but instead appear to sway the public towards a specific outcome on those the New York City or the City Council does not favor. So let's look at it and see what they actually say. And again, people outside of New York City, this probably looks amazingly amazing, just amazing, that's the word. Look at this. The commission bypassed the current lawmaking process. I guess they're referring to Eric Adams' commission, which allows New Yorkers to shape our laws with their input over the course of 271 days. I guess also what happened is this proposal, that Mayor Adams' proposals, removes the city council proposal. Then they put this, proposal number 1, and it's just part of the sample ballot. It's not a full sample ballot. Then they want you to text a video. But let's look at the words, and you tell me what you think. Here it is, and I'm going to give my recommendation, even though that you should make up your own mind. The proposal prohibits discrimination based on ethnicity, national origin. This should be already in our constitution, our state constitution, a lot of this, but there's issues with that. Even religious groups are saying that we don't want children to be changing gender without parent input, right? So I recommend that this Proposal 1 is already in our Constitution. A lot of this we don't need to close loopholes. We need to be very careful when we're changing the Constitution. That's a very important document. Now, these down here are all about the city charter. They're not the New York State Constitution. This has to do with sanitation, increases small business enforcement, expands authority, more rules, undermines, look at this, increases small business enforcement. So this is the city council. You tell me if this is not if this is unbiased, undermines public input. So I would recommend for enforcement and regulations, the mayor and the sanitation department should help with that, right? And all I can say is our city council is the most, I don't know what the word is, but they accomplish very little. Okay, wasteful spending, slower, it certainly looks political or trying to influence the voter. And this is using taxpayer funds to influence the voter. This is not what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to be unbiased, right? I don't know. I don't mind. They want to speak their mind as a public citizen, but this is public resources. This website increases bureaucracy, slows ability to solve problems, weakens budget transparency, cuts to libraries. Actually, this is actually a good one. Proposal. It doesn't even list what the proposal says. Wow. Yeah, where's the actual proposals? Let's look at a sample ballot. Sorry about that. We can look at a sample ballot. You can always say, show me my ballot. Show my ballot. And then you can go over here, and you don't need precise location. Just anything will do. You can just give 100 Broadway, Brooklyn, or whatever. The proposals are the same for everybody, so you can just put 1. That's pretty weird. I don't know where to put that little mic thing. 1 Broadway, and do you really need a zip code? 10001. Why do you need a zip code? You'd think you would be able to figure things out. Oh, I think I broke the site. Look at that. Error communicating. Why do I have to? Let me just take the house number out. Find my site. House number is required. Here, let's use the address of Standard Oil, 26, I think it's 26 Broadway. There you go. Now we're voting as if we're Standard Oil, the Fetterman Hall. Oh, Greenwich Street. Okay. Guess maybe, oh, this is where you vote. But you want to see the ballot. Okay, this is where our friend John D. Rockefeller votes. So here's a sample ballot. This site is as clear as mud. So let's see what their ballot looks like. Yeah, I guess we have to download. And here it is. So I'm going to put this out of the way. They get some choice in president, God bless. Senator, at least there's some choice there. Yeah, we also get a choice for senator. Working. Oh, LaRouche. Look at that. The LaRouche party. There actually is a party line called LaRouche. That's amazing. So I'm going to zoom in on this. And these are the actual ballot. Oh, look at this. They get assembly, member of the assembly, almost no choice. Kavanaugh. Goldman. Oh, at least there's a choice for Congress. See, they have a lot more choice. Here in Brooklyn, we have a lot less choice. So let's look at the real wording. Here it is. The proposal would protect against unequal treatment based on ethnicity, national origin. It also protects against unequal treatment based on reproductive health care. And so that's an important part there. And basically they're saying that, they're introducing abortion, it appears, in this, right? And they don't say the word abortion, right? So I'd recommend against this one. I'm not saying which way you should vote, but that's what I think is right at this point in time. This proposal would amend, so now we're going to the charter, city charter changes. This proposal would amend the city charter to expand and clarify the Department of Sanitation's power to clean streets and other city property. Vote yes to expand and clarify. There has to be a clearer detail on this. This is all that there's got to be details on this, but we're not going to go into the details here. We'll have to have a separate video on that maybe. But what I see is if you compare it to what is here, this is what New York City says for Proposal 3, the New York City Council, I'm sorry, New York City Council. So let's go to Proposal 2, and let's compare the two. It's so confusing. Oh, yeah, it does say Proposal 2 here. Good. It says the proposal would amend the city charter to expand and clarify the Department of Sanitation's power. Right. And they're saying the proposal skipped the typical lawmaking process, increases small business enforcement, expands authority for more rules. Where's the actual detail on that? Because that's not what it says. Undermines public input on cleanliness, bypasses and reduces the public. Well, I guess the city council always says that. So there's got to be details. So let's do this. Ballot proposal. NYC City Charter. So I'm just going to see if there is such a revision. There it is. So this must give details on this, you would think. So here it is, following their final public meeting, approved 5 ballot. Here's the report. So there must be a report here. And this must be the details. Right, so this is, let's look at proposal final fiscal responsibility. Do they ever give? So we just look, clean streets. So this is their, in the first ballot question, which is second on your ballot because there is a proposal from the state, the commission proposes an amendment to expand and clarify. Today, the charter gives the Department of Sanitation the power to clean some but not all city property. This incomplete grant of jurisdiction complicates cities' effort to clean certain properties, like center medians. Really, the amendment would enable sanitation at the mayor's direction to clean any city-owned property. We should get examples. What do you mean by median? Likewise, in an effort to promote the containerization of trash and the resultant benefits for cleanliness and public health, sanitation has promulgated several rules that limit the amount of time that non-containerized garbage spends on the street. The charter, however, does not expressly charge sanitation with mandate to promote containerization. Really? That's interesting. The amendment would clarify that sanitation has the authority to regulate the way refuge is set out for collection, including by requiring the use of containers. Finally, despite the fact that the Office of Street Vendor Enforcement is housed within the Sanitation Department, the charter does not expressly grant sanitation enforcement authority over vending that occurs on city property other than streets and sidewalks. What does that mean? So what city property is it talking about, such as parks? Other than streets and sidewalks, such as in parks. So really the parks, who cleans the parks? I guess the parks are supposed to clean themselves. The amendment would extend sanitation authority over street vendors in other types of city property, not just streets and... Okay, so that's what we're talking about here. When the vendors are in the parks, they're saying that sanitation cannot enforce. But what does it mean if you're, so you might not have, so if you're in a park, does the police have jurisdiction over the park? That's interesting, but sanitation doesn't. Wow, the sanitation. Okay, so let's go back and forth. Let's see, is this is yet another document. So let's see if we can go back to here. and the city council. So it literally is saying public input. So it appears that our city council does not want the sanitation department to handle the parks, or it's a power thing that they want the sanitation department to clean the parks or have. I would think that we do want that. We want the sanitation. We don't want our city council involved in cleaning of the parks and whether sanitation cleans the parks. I think that's an executive decision. So vote yes. Well, you make up your own mind, but it appears that proposal 2 on our ballot we should vote yes for, or I should vote yes for. Wasteful spending. This just is very biased language. Wasteful spending, slower results, and less budget. So that's the description of proposal. So let's go to the report, which is 2. You kind of have to know what the heck is going on here. But in the second ballot question, the commission proposes an amendment to improve how the city assesses the fiscal impact of proposed local laws and addresses certain outdated and inefficient budget deadlines. We have to say that some of this stuff is very poorly done. I've said forever that the Office of Management and Budget is incomprehensible. The entire budget is incomprehensible. These budget lines and all of it should be transparent. So I would vote yes on this. And first, to promote consideration of the cost of proposed laws, the Commission is proposing changes to the Charter section requiring fiscal impact statements. At present, City Council typically publishes fiscal impact statements only when proposed legislation is on the eve of adoption. As a result, much of the public discussion around legislation and much of the legislative work to craft a bill occurs without the benefit of a fiscal impact statement and the cost estimate that it contains. By requiring the fiscal impact statement earlier in the legislative process, prior to a public hearing on a proposed local law, this amendment would encourage greater consideration of the fiscal repercussions of proposed laws. An updated fiscal impact statement before a proposed law is voted on by the full council would also be required in order to give legislatures and the public an assessment of the fiscal impact of the proposed legislation. Wow, this is exactly what we should be doing with the city council, or not the city council, but the state property tax advisory commission report and any law. Exactly correct. There should be required a calculator or a site or a tool that allows people to see the effect of these laws before they're discussed and before they're voted on. And they should be done by the public, it should be done by the mayor's office, and it should be done by the council, whoever wants to do it, and it should be promoted equally. We did something like this for property tax proposal. We had a property tax commission. They proposed something. We finally got a mill rate from them, and now anyone can go, and I'll post the link to see how you would be affected. But of course, they keep changing the law, so then we'd have to update that too. But this proposal is very, very good. Fiscal responsibility. And you can see how angry the amendment also would update several budget-related deadlines in the charter to ensure that the new mayoral administrations are afforded adequate time to compose a preliminary budget. The amendment would extend the deadline for the preliminary budget from January 16th to February 1st in the years following the mayoral election. In those same years, the proposed amendment would alter related deadlines to accommodate the February 1st preliminary budget. Lastly, this amendment would extend the deadline for submission of the executive budget for the ensuing fiscal year from April 26th to May 1st. Wow, that's like April, May. So to ensure the executive budget reflects valuable information about tax collections and revenue obtained at the April 15th tax deadline. Wow, look at that. That's a very important one. I'm glad I read this. So what we can do here is go back and then read what the city council writes about this commission. It was 2 in the commission, but 3 because of the way the state pushed their own proposal at the top. Wasteful spending and slower results and less budget transparency. This proposal requires redundant review process. That's not what it said at all. It also reduces budget by giving less time to examine the mayor's proposed budget. That doesn't. These don't even seem to be talking about the same thing. So let's go to increases bureaucracy, requires thousands of hours of extra work. Oh yeah, but that's what they do. The city council does thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of unnecessary work. Increases. So now they're complaining about that. Reduces the ability to advance timely solutions with laws by creating scheduling. No, that's not true. Weakens budget. So now suddenly when they have so-called control, they don't want anything blocking them. But if the mayor has control, then they want to block everything. Weakens budget transparency, delays budget deadlines for the mayor, and gives the public, that's not what it said at all, less time to review and critique the mayor's proposal. The cuts to libraries. Oh my goodness, this is just so, this is a misuse of taxpayer money, in my opinion. I'm going to pause these because this is getting me angry. But I'll just go through. Oh my goodness. So let's go to the ballot itself. I think the ballot is right here. What does it say for... What does it say here? This proposal would amend the city charter to require fiscal analysis from the council before hearings. That's what it says. That's not what they're saying. Oh my goodness. There seems to be no correlation between what the city council is saying on their website and the reality of the city charter of revision report. Okay, so I'll just go on. Blocking public safety laws. I can't even read these things. This would block the ability. Look at this. The proposal doesn't even say what the proposal says. It's meaningless. Wow, this is really angry stuff. Changes to unrelated city operations. Wow. And I want to share that our council person in Bed-Stuy actually sent this out. So if you look at this report here, I don't think many of the council people actually even sent this out. But if you look at this report, this Bed-Stuy, Julie Wong, and Shahana are those who opted in. Wow. I wonder if our friend, the speaker, actually sent it out too. This is very troubling. Who is writing this stuff? Look, New York City Council. The people are not pawns to be manipulated, right? The tax dollars are not your tax dollars to spend on politicking, right? This is not right. So I would say here's the recommendations, right? I'm going to put it right in the description also so you have it. And what's the best place to look at, I think, is the actual ballot itself, right? So if we go here, and we go here, and we go here, simple. This is the ballot. Number 1, vote no because we don't need that. It's already, and it seems to have abortion mixed in there, right? Parents' rights matter. Number 2, vote, and again, you make up your own mind, but this is just a recommendation or a thought at this point in time. Proposal would amend the city charter to clarify sanitation's power to clean streets. Yes. Proposal to amend the city charter require fiscal analysis. Yes. Proposal more notice in time before votes for public safety legislation. Yes. That would mean council public notice in time before the city council votes on laws respecting I don't think that's the right word, but related to. And now I would say yes. And number 5, to amend the city charter, details on annual assessments, yes. And proposal to amend the city charter, chief business officer authorize the mayor to designate that issues film permits and combine archive boards. Let's see, would amend, establish a chief business diversity officer, authorize the mayor to designate the office that issues film permits and combine archive boards. Voting yes would establish a chief business diversity officer to support and authorize the mayor to designate the office that issues film permits and combine 2 boards. Maybe that makes sense. It is combining that and to designate the office that issues film permits and combine 2 boards. Let's look at the proposal for that one, because that should be 5. Okay, let's see. The 5 amendments. So the 5th one, capital planning. Oh, okay, so this one. In 5th, the final question, to update several charter provisions to improve the government operations, to support minority-owned businesses. This amendment would establish a chief business diversity officer and provide will serve as a point of contact for MWBs, evaluate the efficacy of the policies. Oh my goodness. Next, the amendment would empower the mayor to give the office that processes film permits, the media, the power to issue those permits. What? Who issues them now? Lastly, the amendment would combine 2 charter-created boards that share the same mission, ensuring the effective functioning of municipal archives. Oh, so that does make sense. But do we need a new? Is it creating anything new? To update and improve, to support, would establish the chief. Well, I would agree with removing departments, but not increasing departments. So this is badly worded. To support, would establish a chief business diversity officer in the charter and provide that will serve as a point of contact for evaluate and address disparities in procurement and propose needed changes. Next, the amendment would empower the mayor to give the office that processes film permits the power to issue those permits. Lastly, the amendment would combine 2 charter-created. Yeah, I'm going to say no on this because it's creating yet another diversity officer. So let's say no on that, even though it does seem to have some good. And this is very confusing. So number 6, make up your own mind again, but I would say no. It's creating another office. And it is combining archive boards, which is so cryptic. That is so cryptic. Wow. Very cryptic. Peace out.